Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am reviewing the new Copic acrylic markers. This is not sponsored. This is just me wanting the markers, and I'm going to basically nerd out and info dump for you guys because I have a lot to say about these markers. So first of all, I couldn't find them anywhere near me, so I actually ordered them all the way from overseas, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. There are officially 4 sets right now. So I ended up getting all 4 sets. So we're going to explore these as the video goes on. So I ended up buying these at Art Supplies Japan. It's the first time I buy from them, but I really enjoyed my experience. And the shipping went fairly decently. I had to pay a little bit of customs, but even with the customs, it was still cheaper than buying it anywhere around me. And like I said, it was sold out. So there are 4 sets here. And if you look at the top left-hand corner, it said, for Japan sales only, for obvious reasons, because it's only written in Japanese, and especially in North America, you need to have it written at least in English, and in Canada, certain parts of Canada has to be English and French, and then I'm assuming in certain parts of the States it has to be English and Spanish. But we can see what colors are here in the sets, and they're going to be made available in North America. They are already. They were just sold out where they are in my area, and they're not super popular in Canada yet. So like I said, you can tell by looking at the box or at the top right-hand corner what colors are in here, and there are currently 4 sets. I'm very excited to use these on both black and white. I'm going to use my black paper sketchbook, and I'm going to link this video because I actually reviewed these little pencils and I have my goals for this year. So if you're interested, I will link the video in a card and down below. I have already set up my page so that I can have a black and white transition so we can see just how good these markers are. I purposely did not watch any other reviews on YouTube so that these would really be my own personal opinions. I did read one customer review, but I'll get into that later. So like I said, these are only in Japanese. I had to go online to get the names of the colors, but once we open it up, you're going to see the names are actually on the markers in English, but I didn't know that because I had yet to open them up. So the most important part in this little section here, the black and white transition. So I'm going to start with what's known as the Essentials pack. And these are all more on the neutral sides. I got all the colors online, wrote them down, and we're just going to squiggle through, and I'm eager to see how nice they show up on white paper, dark paper, or if they're watery or if they're transparent. So this is what the markers look like. It's hard to film just with one hand. Like I said, the name is here. The little colors on the bottom, the little colors on the top. So this is actually the first time I'm looking at the marker. And I didn't realize this, guys, but the markers are all individually wrapped. So if you look here, there is a plastic on every single marker, and that was very long and tedious. Here's the little AP sign, which I always look for in all my art supplies. It lets me know that these are non-toxic and they're acceptable. The little white paper I am using is a paper I got from a scrawler box, and it's particularly marker paper, best for Poscas. I've used Poscas on them, and I'm assuming these are Posca competitors. So this is the paper I am actually going to do my little testing on and that I've glued in my sketchbook. I ended up reading a review that said exactly this, to watch out because the first initial pump that you put, the markers end up really flooding. And I just filed that away and kept it in mind, and I couldn't believe it was happening. I was barely pushing hard and the marker was just oozing out. So then I got scared and I'm like, okay, I need to go super gentle. And I decided to push incredibly gently, and I started to get some progress here. So what I found to be helpful is to push it when they are vertical the other way, and then be super gentle. Don't push down normally because the marker will flood the paper. So again, I'm really glad that I read that one review because it ended up telling me this and I didn't ruin everything in my sketchbook. As you guys can see, the paint dried here, but as we progressively went through the set, I was able to get more and more of a better result, and I was more gentle and there was less flooding. And already off the bat, I was loving the silver and the gold. So you guys are going to see me here simply swatching them out on the paper. Obviously at this angle, you can't see how nice the silver is, but straight out of the gate, wow guys, I was really impressed with the coverage on both the black and the white. So my honest opinion, the silver and the gold really wowed me. I was super impressed. They weren't watery and they were showing up great on both the black and the white, which cannot always be said for other art supplies. I immediately went to the sepia. Some people say sepia, I say sepia, and I was impressed. I'm like, wow, these markers are incredibly juicy. So here I am on to the next set. Everything is labeled, but just for the sake of educating ourselves, I'm taking out a Copic sketch and a Copic chow and the new Acrea markers. So we all know that the Copic sketch markers have a completely different shape. These are alcohol markers. These are really close to shape when it comes to a Copic chow marker. However, a Copic chow marker is an alcohol-based marker. These are paint-based. I'm just giving you guys a little comparison to show you guys what it's going to be like to touch them. So when you feel them, it's going to feel like a Copic chow, but it's obviously more comparable to a Posca, but the smaller Poscas. So I'm now comparing, these are all acrylic markers. Look at the comparison, like I said, a smaller Posca is what it's most comparable to. The nib is hard, there's no brush tip, and this is the thing I can compare it to the most. So as you guys can hear, they sound exactly like any paint marker. So this is the only method I have figured out. By pushing down, you end up hearing a release of pressure and then the paint kind of releases into the nib. It's the only way to not make a mess all over your paper or to waste the ink as you are swatching them out and getting them pumped and primed. So now I have swatched out 2 out of the 4 sets. This is now the light set. They are all very beautiful, and this is the deep set. I've loved every single color I tried so far. The only thing is I'm really surprised that the packages are as small as they are and the markers are as small as they are. But like I said, they're like a small Posca marker. So right over here, you guys can see, as I mentioned earlier, the names are written down, and I'm really glad because those 2 colors ended up being very similar when I initially swatched them out. So over here, nothing special. I'm just doing different squiggles than I was doing in the first page. I just did squiggles, and here it's kind of like if a bee were flying around, I'm doing squiggles. And I'm really impressed with the coverage and the opacity of each marker. Oof, I love that sound. All right, it's time to learn from my little squiggly mess. Now, what I have to say, these glide beautifully across the paper. Sometimes it will snag a little bit and splotch, but overall, I didn't have that happen a lot. These pens, or markers I should say, are incredibly juicy and they look great on both black and white paper, and I can't say that this is the case for all acrylic markers. No, they are not all created the same. There are even some more popular brands out there, if you know what I mean. I find their formula is kind of watery, and this is not the case with these Copic Acrea markers. The coverage is great. Most colors look just as good on the black and the white alike. So I'm not just going to have squiggle swatches, I am actually going to flip the page over and we're going to draw something. Now I know I actually did a bear not that long ago, but I can't help it. I'm in a bear mood, you guys. So I'm not going to do what I usually do and make sure I use every single marker. I've already done that with the swatches here. I just want to do a bear with little fireflies, and I'm going to utilize the black of the paper as the background. And I'm just going to work with the dark moodiness and see how these markers turn out. So I have chosen these colors, and let's get going. I love how the markers lay down, and I love that even the black marker is showing up beautifully against the black paper. I would like to point out that the yellow shows up amazingly even on black paper, unlike other acrylic markers I have used in the past. Side note, my son helped me name him Freddie. So here we have it, my first illustration is done. We've got a bear with some cute firefly friends in the night sky, but I want to do one more thing. I want to do a comparison with 3 different brands, and I'm picking 3 different colors. We are going to do yellow, white, and green, and I am going to use Posca's, these Copic markers, and the new acrylic Sharpie markers, just to give us a little comparison of what the inks are like. So you guys will see which colors are more transparent, which ones are more opaque. And this is not to bash any particular brand. I think they all held up well, but different. I do have to say, I am super impressed with the Copic marker coverage. I just did one swipe with all of these, except this large Posca yellow mark because baby left the lid off the marker, so I had to really help that one out. But everything else, I did one swipe, and it's fair all the way across, and I'm really impressed with how the Copic has gone through. Now, again, I'm not going to bash anybody. It's just, there's a clear winner, but they all did very, very well, in my humble opinion. And now for one final comparison, I am just seeing how the black on black is showing up. So from left to right, we've got the Posca, then the Copic, then the Sharpie. Again, in my opinion, there is a clear winner. This is not to bash. They all work beautifully. They would all work well together. And if you like acrylic markers, I suggest trying all of these. I took the white and I did one swipe across the black, and again, I feel there is a clear winner. Not to bash the other brands, but wow, look at the coverage we are getting with just one swipe of the white. It's pretty impressive, it's pretty remarkable. I'd be taking notes if I were other brands. So this is my honest review. I didn't watch any reviews before this. I only read a product review, but I didn't listen to any other videos, and all opinions are my own. Final thought on the markers, love that the name is in English, love that they have the original Copic logo right here, and I love that they have the color both on the bottom and at the top, and they have this nice design so that it doesn't roll off your desk. If you're an artist, you know what I mean of having your markers or your pens rolling off your surface. So overall, I am super impressed with these. I highly recommend them. They are obviously pricier than Sharpie markers that I have previously reviewed. I will link that video. All of these markers are good. It's just, it seems like all the big names are competitively making acrylic markers, and you know what? Everyone is doing a good job, and I'm excited to see what ends up coming out next. So if this review was helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.